Today we're checking out something a little bit interesting. Now, this case was one of the most recognizable cases from the mid 2010s. It's called the BitFenix Prodigy, but this one, however, is a little bit different. This is a rehash of the original Prodigy. This is called the BitFenix Prodigy M 2022. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do our usual thing. We're gonna pull it apart, rip out all the things, see what makes it tick, and I'm gonna let you guys know what I think about it. We're gonna do thermals, we're gonna do everything, right? That's what we're here to do. So let's jump in, let's do a thing. Before we start, I just wanna talk about the original Prodigy, just from my own experiences. I remember going to LAN parties around 2012 when like LAN parties were still a thing. And I mean, they are, let's not get into that. But when I used to actually go to LAN parties quite a bit, a lot of people were using the Prodigy because of its size and handles. Because at the time, small form factor cases weren't as prevalent as they are now. So having something small you could take to a LAN party where you could jam heaps of storage in back then was kind of game changing. The one that I had an orange one back in the day for that type of stuff, but we're checking out a white one today of the new Prodigy M 2022. Let's get stuck in. I just wanted to share that with you guys because I thought you might find it interesting. They kind of copied the old Mac Pro and the old Power Mac with the design. I think that's why everyone wanted it back in the day as well, but let's rip it apart, take a closer look. Here it is, ladies and gents, the Prodigy M 2022. Let's do our usual thing and let's rip her guts open and see what's inside, eh? What do you reckon, Claire? Rip some guts, rip and tear. It's from Doom, rip and tear. But yeah, panel removal, regular kind of plastic coated thumb screws, typical BitFenix fashion here with their panels. They basically just slide off. Now this one on this side is a little bit trickier considering the front IO is actually attached to the case, so we need to, it's actually side IO, how about that? And the front panel pops off as well. You don't really need to pull that apart. And that's the front panel. There's a bunch of stuff in here too. I'm actually not sure if this stuff in particular is included with the case. They weren't very clear on that, but we'll talk about it anyway. We'll go chuck it on the floor. There's two fan filters, they're both magnetic. There's one on the top of the case, just standard magnetic fan filters. And there's one on the bottom as well. They're both different sizes, but as you can see here, here's one of them, here's the other, and together with their powers combined, they will filter all of the things. There's 4 pre-installed fans in the case. 3 of them are 120mm fans. They're all addressable RGB, well these ones are, and they use DC power, not PWM fan power, and where these fans are installed is the default configuration. However, there is one extra fan that caught me a little bit off guard. Look at this, a little 60mm fan as well. Look at his little baby. There's a little baby just hanging up there. Probably gonna pull that one out, let's be honest. It may be good for some use cases, but me understanding 60mm fans, this one's gonna be loud, so we're gonna get rid of it. In terms of motherboard support here, you've got support for ITX and MATX boards as well. Nothing bigger. You can't do ATX, just not gonna fit, so like I said, ITX, MATX, and Bob is your uncle. In terms of drive compatibility, so you can do 2 2.5-inch SSDs or spinning rush drives here and here, they go across this way. And on the back side of this, if you remove this whole panel, you can also do an additional 2 3.5-inch spinning rush drives as well. So you can have a total of 4 SATA drives in this case. So it's kind of like the original where you can just jam pack it full of storage in a nice compact form factor. This is why this was a very popular LAN case back in the day. In terms of additional fan mounting, as you can see, there's the pre-installed fans here. So that's the maximum for the back here. For the front, you can do a 120mm fan. If you remove the 60mm fan, you can do 2 60mm fans at the top, which is just so odd to me. You can also do 2 120s in the top or 2 140s in the top, and you can do an AIO in the top. It just depends on the way that you want to go about mounting your GPU. It does come with a vertical GPU bracket, which removes the rear fan and puts the vertical GPU down the bottom of the case so you can account for having an AIO mounted at the top. I haven't decided which way I'm going yet when I build in this. In terms of power supply support, the power supply drops in this front section here, and it's got a single thumb screw to mount it to the bracket, so you can mount the bracket to your power supply and then slide it in and then screw it in, and you should be good to go. All right, ladies and gents, it's time for the ye old Strix test. That's what I call it these days, to see if this big 3080 Gundam will fit. Now, I'm gonna say this technically does fit. However, logistically, it actually may not. So the 60mm fan at the front, with this GPU in particular, I think that'll have to be removed, otherwise the GPU will sit like that and it won't actually plug in. And if you're air cooling, which is probably what I'm gonna do in this system, I'll have to maneuver around the air cooler, and the power supply will have to go in at a much later stage, which is not usually the order that I build in, but I think I can make this huge thing fit. Now, the reason why I won't be vertically mounting this GPU, which I think will also fit, so if we take a look at vertical GPU mounting with the provided bracket that gives you the functionality to mount it down here, you'll notice that they've actually put this, so a 3-slot card like this one sits basically all the way up against the glass. If this had a mesh side panel, this wouldn't be a huge difference, but let me show you how they could have improved this. Ready? This is where they could have made this better. If they just moved it over to there, which gives us more than enough clearance, it would have been a lot better thermally. So in the default configuration with vertical GPU mounting it this way, this is no good. They should have thought a bit harder about this one. So for this build, I think I will be going with a regular horizontal GPU mounting. Just makes a bit more sense. The only way this mount would actually be worth using is if you were custom water cooling your GPU, then you don't have to worry about how close it is up to the glass, because they do say that, you know, they did think about designing this for custom water cooling as well. So for that use case, no problem. For air-cooled GPUs like this big old Strix card, it'll melt it. Front panel connectors are all pretty standard. You got your connectors for your lights and all your switches and all that jazz. You got your front panel audio connector. You got your USB Type-C front panel cable, and also your USB 3.0 front panel cable for the USB Type-A ports. As mentioned earlier, all of the front I/O, which is actually side panel I/O, has your power button, reset button. You've got your headphone and microphone jacks, 2 USB Type-A ports, and a USB Type-C port. All right, ladies and gents, that's basically everything you need to know about the Prodigy M 2022. Let's do a build and then test the thermals and all that stuff, and then I'll let you know what I think about this case. Let's get building. ladies and gents, I hope you enjoyed the build in the BitFenix Prodigy M 2022. Let's take a little bit of a look at those thermals. What you're seeing on your screen right now is the thermals aren't very good. They're average at best. Now there's a few contributing factors to this, mainly the M-ATX board that we use. The top by 16 slot is actually in the first position. Most M-ATX boards will have it in the second position, creating a bit of a barrier between the GPU and the CPU air cooler in this type of build. Now the GPU almost touches the CPU cooler here, so you know, that's what's really happening here. The GPU is heating up the CPU and the CPU is heating up the GPU, both driving those temperatures up regardless of how the fan configuration is. Even if we put that 60mm fan up the front, it wouldn't have made any difference to the thermal, so I would suggest using a different type of M-ATX board if you were to be air cooling. AIO temperatures would be significantly different. We may come back to this, but probably not. So yeah, that's all I got to say about the thermals here. They are average, but it's because of the board and CPU cooler combo that we use. Now, usually at this part of the video, I'll talk about all the parts used in the system, but considering I filmed this video differently, I just wanted to skip that just to see if you guys liked if we changed it up a bit. I'll put a PC part picker list down below in the description, but you probably already noticed that obviously the CPU is the AMD Ryzen 9 5900X and the GPU is the Asus ROG Strix RTX 3080 Gundam Edition. There are a couple other things in this build that I did that I did for convenience sake, like I put an SFX power supply. In this case, I put a little note on the screen as well to denote that, but typically you would use a regular ATX power supply. I only did it to save myself some time, save some space, because I really wanted to put this GPU in here because I wanted it to look really cool. And the only power supply that I had available at the time of filming this was slightly too big, and it was a little bit bigger than that 200mm specification that BitFenix is saying they would recommend with this. And with a GPU like this, being as long as it is, it just would have interfered and I would have been angry and I would have punched a hole through the case because I would have got angry. So I made this easier for myself, but thermally it probably didn't change anything. But I would love to have compared this to the original Prodigy. I don't have one. It's been about 9 years since I've had one, and that was like a LAN gaming rig anyway, so it wasn't even my primary system. But the build quality on this, from memory of the original Prodigy, I think the original Prodigy was built a bit better than this. The internal layout of the case, I actually quite like. It is tricky to cable manage on the side that you can see, but on the back side, there's so much additional clearance there because of the way they've designed it like the original, for heaps of storage to be added in. I think, yeah, the cable management, it's, you know, depending on how you look at it, it's not bad, it's not amazing, but it's somewhere in the middle. In terms of building in this case as well, it was actually quite easy to build in. I thought I may run into some issues using a big air cooler like the one that was used in this build, but actually I didn't have any problems with getting it to work. There's a few things that I would like to have done. I already mentioned using an ATX power supply, how you can do that in this case. It's not exclusively for SFX. I would like to have put some extra fans in the top, but I was curious to see how it would be in this configuration without ramming air into the GPU. And I honestly think because of this motherboard and air cooler combo, that it wouldn't have impacted the thermals that much, even if I did add some extra fans. Considering the CPU is basically heating up the GPU and vice versa. I already talked about this. Anyways, that's basically all I've got to say about the Prodigy M. It's kind of a return of a classic with a bit more of a modern twist with stuff like tempered glass. And ultimately, you know, if you want that nostalgia trip, I think it's cool if you want to get that nostalgia trip happening. For a modern system, maybe not so much. I find that the front is a little bit more restrictive than it should be. And that's the main thing here. It does have a mesh front, but yeah, it does appear to be semi-constrictive and restrictive. So I'll leave that up to you. I'll put some more details in the description and all that for this case if you're interested. I think it's already launched. I'm not sure about the pricing at the time of filming this. If you like the music you heard here, I make all the music. It's available over on Patreon. And I'm out of here, but stick around. It's time for some of that cinematic ting. And I know if you click off the video, I can tell with the analytics, so stick around, enjoy, listen to some beats. look at some cinematic things, and yeah, catch you next time. But stay around, stick around. I know what I'm saying.